Please let me go, she cried loudly, her wrists twisting helplessly against the iron grip of the men holding her. The dimly lit auction hall was filled with whispers, gasps, and the shuffling of wealthy men in silk robes and polished shoes. Sweat trickled down her smooth, dark skin, glistening under the harsh fluorescent lights. The crowd of bidders leaned forward eagerly, their greedy eyes fixed on her trembling figure. Amara. She had always believed her life, though hard, was hers to live. But tonight, it felt as though everything was being ripped away, her dignity, her freedom, her very soul sold to the highest bidder like some prized possession. The announcer, dressed in a cream-colored kaftan, raised his voice. Gentlemen, what you see before you is no ordinary woman. She is pure beauty, ebony gold from the heart of Africa, a queen without a crown, waiting for a man of power to claim her. We begin the bidding at $500,000. The room buzzed, voices overlapped, laughter, excitement, tension. Amara's chest heaved as she scanned the faces, praying someone, anyone, would step in and save her. But deep down, she knew that no one in that hall came to save, they came to own. Just when the bidding started to climb, the heavy doors at the back of the hall swung open. A cold hush fell. All heads turned. He walked in slowly like a man who owned the world. His long white robe swayed gently with each step, the red and white checkered headscarf framing his sharp, commanding features. His eyes, piercing, dark, and unblinking, swept across the hall like a blade slicing through the air. Khaled Al-Mansur. The Arab billionaire whose name alone stirred both fear and admiration, a man known for buying what no one else could, for turning impossible things into his personal possessions. Oil tycoon, real estate giant, a man who believed everything had a price, including people. As he walked toward the stage, the other bidders shifted uneasily, their earlier confidence dissolving. Everyone knew when Khaled wanted something, he would have it, no matter the cost. He stopped in front of Amara, his tall frame casting a shadow over her trembling body, his eyes locked onto hers. For a brief moment, the world around them seemed to vanish. "You," he said softly, his accent thick, his voice deep and commanding, "you will be mine." "No," Amara screamed, shaking her head violently. "I am not for sale, please somebody help me." Her voice cracked, echoing painfully in the silent hall. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her cries only seemed to fuel the excitement of the crowd. The announcer cleared his throat nervously. "Ladies and gentlemen, the bidding continues." 1 million, Khaled's voice cut through the air like thunder. Gasps erupted, the hall went wild. No one dared challenge him, the other bidders lowered their paddles, unwilling to risk the wrath of a man whose wealth and power were untouchable. Amara's knees weakened, her stomach turned cold. Was this really happening? Was her entire life being decided in a single sentence? 1 million going once, the announcer's voice trembled. Going twice, sold. The gavel slammed down. The deal was sealed. Moments later, Amara found herself shoved into the back seat of a black Rolls-Royce, its leather interior smelling of power and new money. The car pulled away from the hall, the city lights blurring past the tinted windows. Khaled sat across from her, his posture calm, his gaze never leaving her face. He wasn't just looking at her, he was studying her, as if trying to unlock something hidden within her soul. "Why me?" Amara whispered, her voice barely audible. Khaled leaned forward slightly, his deep eyes narrowing. "Because you are rare," he said. "A gem in a world of stones. I have searched for a woman who carries both fire and grace. You are exactly what I seek." Amara's hands clenched into fists. She wanted to scream, to curse, to fight, but fear wrapped around her throat like a chain. "You can't just buy me," she spat finally, her voice breaking. "I'm not a thing you can own." A faint smile tugged at Khaled's lips. "Everything in this world can be bought, Amara, it is only a matter of price." For the first time that night, Amara's fear began to burn into anger. Deep inside, a voice whispered, "You are not his, you are not for sale." As the car sped deeper into the night, she made a silent vow. She would not let this man, no matter how rich, no matter how powerful, break her spirit. She would find a way to escape. And when she did, Khaled Al-Mansur would realize he hadn't bought a wife, he had awakened a storm. If you've watched up to this point, please do well to hit the subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. The night grew darker and Amara's fate hung in the balance. She sat in silence, plotting, waiting for the right moment. But little did she know, Khaled had plans for her that went far beyond what she could imagine. And the real battle between freedom and control, dignity and power, was only just beginning. The city lights faded behind them, swallowed by the thick shadows of the desert highway. Amara sat stiffly in the Rolls-Royce, her fingers digging into the leather seat. Every second felt like a nightmare dragging her deeper into the unknown. Across from her, Khaled sat in silence, his dark eyes reflecting the faint glow of the car's interior lights. His presence was overwhelming, like a lion who didn't need to roar to remind everyone he was king. Finally, Amara broke the silence. "Where are you taking me?" she asked, her voice tight. Khaled leaned back, his expression unreadable. "To a place where no one will dare touch you, to my world, my kingdom." "I don't want your kingdom," Amara snapped. "I want my freedom." He tilted his head, studying her like a puzzle. Freedom is an illusion, Amara. Even in your city you were chained by poverty, by circumstance. I offer you something greater: safety, wealth, power. Her eyes flared. Power without choice is just another prison. For a moment, Khaled's lips curved faintly, almost as if he admired her defiance. The car slowed as massive iron gates swung open, revealing a sprawling estate lit by golden lamps. Towering date palms lined the driveway, leading to a mansion that looked carved from marble itself. Amara's breath caught. She had never seen such grandeur: walls engraved with Arabic calligraphy, fountains glowing under the moonlight, and guards posted at every corner like silent statues. As she was led inside, the air smelled of roses and expensive oud perfume. The floors gleamed, the chandeliers sparkled, but to Amara it all felt like a gilded cage. Khaled guided her into a lavish chamber draped with silk curtains and velvet cushions. Servants bowed as they placed trays of fruits and golden pitchers of water on the table. "This will be your room," Khaled said. "You will have everything you desire here." Amara turned sharply. "Except freedom." Their eyes clashed, the tension between them electric. Khaled's gaze lingered for a long moment before he finally said, "Sleep. Tomorrow you will understand." Then he left, the heavy door locking behind him. As soon as his footsteps faded, Amara's body trembled, not from fear but from determination. She rushed to the window, her eyes scanning the estate walls. Guards with rifles patrolled below. Beyond the walls, nothing but miles of desert. She pressed her palms against the cool glass. "I have to get out, I can't stay here." Then she noticed the servant girl quietly arranging blankets at the corner of the room. She was young, with soft features and timid eyes. Amara seized the moment. "Please," she whispered urgently, "help me escape, I can't stay here." The servant froze, her hands trembling. "No, miss, it is impossible. The sheik will know, he always knows." "Please," Amara begged, "you don't understand. I was taken against my will. He bought me like property." The girl's eyes welled with sympathy, but fear kept her silent. She bowed her head and hurried out, leaving Amara's heart sinking. Still, she refused to give up. She waited until the night deepened, then grabbed a heavy brass vase and struck it against the window frame. The sound echoed faintly. She tried again, harder. Tiny cracks began to form. Just as hope sparked in her chest, the door burst open. Khaled stood there, his expression like ice. Behind him, 2 guards rushed in, seizing Amara's wrists before she could fight back. Her chest heaved with fury. "Let me go, you can't keep me here like a prisoner." The billionaire stepped closer, his robe brushing against the floor. His voice was calm but deadly. "You think this place is a prison? Then perhaps you have not yet seen the world outside these walls. I saved you, Amara. Out there you would be devoured by men who see you as less than nothing. At least here you are mine and I protect what is mine." Her eyes burned. "You didn't save me, you stole me." For the first time, Khaled's calm mask cracked and a flicker of anger flashed in his eyes. But instead of raising his voice, he leaned in close, his words low and deliberate. "You will learn, Amara, whether through patience or through fire." He turned sharply and gestured to the guards. "Leave her, she must understand her place." When they released her, Amara collapsed onto the floor, her spirit bruised but not broken. The next morning, Amara awoke to sunlight pouring through the tall windows. Her body was tired, but her mind burned brighter than ever. She walked across the room, her bare feet sinking into the soft carpet. Servants came and went, bringing clothes, jewelry, and food. She ignored them. Her mind was fixed on one thing: escape. When Khaled appeared later that day, dressed in an elegant white suit instead of his flowing robe, he extended a box toward her. Inside lay a diamond necklace that shimmered like captured stars. "Wear it," he said. Amara looked at the necklace, then back at him, her lips curled into a cold smile. "You can cover me in diamonds, but it won't hide the chains." Khaled's jaw tightened. For a moment it seemed he would lash out, but then he laughed, a deep, chilling laugh. "You are unlike any woman I have ever known," he said. "That is why you fascinate me, that is why I will never let you go." Amara's heart pounded, but instead of cowering she lifted her chin. "Then be ready, Khaled, because I will never stop fighting you." And as the sun dipped beyond the horizon, a dangerous game began between the billionaire who thought he owned her and the woman who vowed she could never be owned. What Amara didn't know was that outside the mansion walls someone was watching, someone who might change everything. The night was alive with whispers. The desert wind howled against the tall walls of the mansion, rattling palm leaves and carrying with it the scent of sand and freedom. Inside her golden cage, Amara sat by the window, her heart pounding. She had been waiting for this moment. Every day she had watched the guards, memorizing their movements, the timing of the patrols, the blind spots. Tonight she would risk everything. Her eyes darted to the far corner of the courtyard where the servant girl, the one who had refused her help earlier, now lingered nervously. Their gazes met. The girl's trembling hands gave a slight nod. Finally an ally. Amara's pulse quickened. The plan was reckless, but it was all she had. The girl had told her of a hidden passage beneath the east wing, once used by workers during the mansion's construction. If Amara could reach it, she could slip out under the cover of night and vanish into the desert. She slipped silently out of her chamber, her bare feet brushing the cold marble floors. The servant led the way, holding a tiny lantern that flickered with every step. They turned into the east corridor, when suddenly a deep voice froze them in place. "Going somewhere." "Khaled." He stepped out of the shadows, his white robe glowing faintly in the dim light. Guards flanked him on both sides, their rifles gleaming. His eyes, sharp and unblinking, locked onto Amara with a mixture of fury and dark amusement. Her chest tightened, her throat burned with words she could no longer hold back. "You will never own me," she shouted, her voice echoing against the high ceilings. "I would rather die in the desert than live as your prisoner." The mansion seemed to shudder with the weight of her defiance. For the first time, Khaled didn't look angry. Instead, he looked wounded. His shoulders dropped, his voice softened. "You think I bought you to chain you? No, Amara, I bought you to protect you." Confusion washed over her. "Protect me from what?" He took a slow step forward. "There are men far worse than me, men who trade women like livestock across borders, never to be seen again. I saw you at that auction and I could not let them take you, so I paid the price no one else could to keep you alive." Her lips parted, disbelief swirling in her chest. His words sounded sincere, but could she trust him? "You expect me to thank you," she spat, "for buying me like a commodity, for stripping me of my choice." Khaled's face tightened with regret. "I have lived my whole life believing money could buy anything, but you are the first to prove me wrong." For a long, heavy silence, they stared at each other, two worlds colliding, two truths clashing. The guards waited for Khaled's command. Amara's ally clutched the lantern, frozen with fear. The entire fate of the night balanced on Khaled's next words. Finally he exhaled. "Go," he said. The guards looked at him in shock. Khaled's voice hardened. "I said let her go." The servant gasped, nearly dropping the lantern. Amara's breath caught in her chest. You would really let me leave," she whispered. Khaled stepped closer, his expression heavy. "If I keep you here against your will, then I am no better than the monsters I despise. Go, Amara, but know this, I will never forget you." Her body trembled. For weeks all she had wanted was freedom. Now it was finally within her grasp, yet part of her heart twisted with a strange ache, an ache she didn't want to name. Slowly, Amara turned. With the servant guiding her, she disappeared into the hidden passage, the lantern's light flickering into the darkness. Khaled stood rooted in the corridor, his jaw clenched, his chest rising and falling with silent pain. He had bought kingdoms, built empires, and broken men with the stroke of a pen. But tonight, for the first time in his life, he had let something slip through his fingers. Not wealth, not power, but the one woman who had shown him that some things could never, ever be owned. As the first rays of dawn broke across the desert horizon, Amara stepped onto the open sands. The wind whipped through her hair, the sun kissed her skin, and for the first time in what felt like forever, she breathed freely. The world stretched endlessly before her. She didn't know where the road would lead, but it was hers to walk, hers to choose. She was free. If you were Amara, would you have trusted Khaled and stayed, or would you? If you have followed this story up to the end, please do well to hit the subscribe button right now. Also, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love hearing from you.